Ladies and gentlemen, today we have found one of the best spec'd 2006 Prevosts that I have ever seen. We're hanging out with ScottAles. How you doing today, sir?
It's good to see you again, Andrew.
Yeah, likewise. We saw you a few weeks ago when you were running some coaches through the Mecum auction, and you mentioned that you may be willing to sell your personal Prevost Featherlite. And what's the story on this coach, sir?
Let me introduce you to my old friend. This is the coach. You'll learn more later in the video, but this is the coach that I now have owned the third time. And it's just one of those things that keeps coming back to me, it keeps giving. I just love, of all the coaches I played with, seen, other friends, I just like this coach a lot. It's special to Deborah and I, so much so that instead of buying it to resell and make a little money the previous two times, we bought it as users this time. So I've had it for 1.5 years, and I'm not sure if my time with it is over. It kind of depends on what the community thinks, right? If they agree and align with what the value it brings to me is. And so we're not at the low end of the spectrum, but it's a high spectrum piece, and you'll see why.
Yeah, and how much money are you asking for this coach?
My 62-year-old memory, $499 is what I think I said to you.
Yes, sir.
But $499, $495, in that range. That's the sense. We take trades. We all kinds of flexibility. And it sounds cliche and weird. I'm very negotiable if I know it's going to a good home because I want it back again later.
I understand that, and we'll hear more about your story later in the video about your ownership in it. I want to ask you a little bit about some of the problems you've had with it over the years, and we're going to take it for a test drive as well. But this exterior paint job is unlike anything they were doing in this vintage. A lot of the 06 Prevosts out there are going to have more of the browns, the beiges, more of the mineral colors. What's the story on this particular coach?
It was actually, I don't know who designed it within the Featherlite organization, somebody obviously, but I don't know if the first owner put them to task, but it was a hard sell, I heard. When the coach was new, it was almost too advanced. And so the combination has been, to me, striking from day one I ever saw it. And it's a pleasure to drive and be in the coach. I like taking care of older things that look new. It's been my thing all my life. Like the 76 Kenworth that I have, man, it looks like it's 2 years old. I'd rather have a 20-year-old classic that looks like this than a $2 million brand new one, because it's like a sense of who I am, and I like that.
Well, and this is pre-DEF with the Detroit Diesel Series 60, and we went to the 2025 Tampa Super Show recently to see all the newest stuff, and I saw a lot of the color combinations with the lighter, almost a cream color white, and then it's almost like a periwinkle blue, but we've seen it in different shades of sunlight where it almost looks like maybe more of a cadet blue, or a gray.
It's pretty solid blue here and fades into metallic black all the way to the back of the coach.
Okay, maybe that's what I'm seeing here. It's kind of playing a little trick on my mind here. Lots of fades, and it just really shows it's been well cared for. You're currently storing it indoors here in the Orlando area. So do you know the history of how this coach has been stored over the years?
Yeah, actually, I know it since I acquired it first in 2009 or 10. Prior to that, my understanding is it was stored, but I don't know definitively. I never met the gentleman, right? But since then, I know both of the owners and myself pretty well, and we all kept the coach inside when it wasn't on the road. So I think I bought it in the 28,000 mile range in 2010, and it now has 97 or 8,000 miles.
Yes, sir.
But it's just never lived outdoors, and it shows.
Yes, sir, and it's sparkling from head to toe. I know you keep all of your stuff really clean, and I'm curious, are these wheels chromed, or is that just polished aluminum?
That's my roots, like the Kenworth truck. I've been polishing Bud wheels since I was 12 years old. So we make sure to keep those up. You know, the last owner that we got it back from put tires on it, I think 3 or 4 years ago. We did batteries within the last 1.5 years. I put a new fridge in it. We did new vents in the top, you know, for the bath and the shower. We rebuilt the Aqua Hot completely. It was a little bit like, hey, you could probably fix it and get by. Just pull it out, rebuild it, send it up, get it rebuilt. So that's just been done. So we just really have tried to keep up with keeping the coach current.
And you're totally transparent. I think later we're going to share a story about how this ended up on a tow truck at one point as well.
Yeah, that was, oh my gosh. Like whoever ends up buying, I'm going to sell this someday. I don't know who is going to buy it. I don't know what they're going to pay, and I don't know when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. I'll give them the long version. because it's even better. It's really fun.
Well, I'm really looking forward to showing this coach to the viewers on YouTube. We're going to go through it in depth, show you through the bays, show you the interior, take it for a test drive. But is there anything else you want to share with the folks on YouTube about this coach?
Yeah, call me if you have interest, and I'm sure you'll present our contact information. It's pretty simple. Just be careful, because with me, you'll kind of feel like I'm trying to talk you out of it. I'm not. I just want you to understand what it is and what it's not. Like right now, I'm looking at it, I love it, but I know every flaw. I know that there's some scratches here that I could probably wet sand and buff out from somebody brushing. I know about every little nook and cranny, and I will show anybody if they want to know. Some people don't want to know. They don't want their eyes to go to it since they've owned it, that way. It's just one of those things. It's not flawless, but it's pretty dang nice for 2006.
Yes, sir. I've been looking at it pretty closely. I'm extremely impressed with this coach. Is there anything else unique about this coach that you want to share with the folks on YouTube?
Here's the only thing, a little plug for myself. In the event that the next 30 to 60 days doesn't evolve into a sale, I am going to subject this coach, the first coach I think in the country, I'm going to subject this coach to a full dry ice cleaning. So the bays, the trim, when you open a door, the stainless, the crud that gets in the nooks and crannies, the engine bay, all those places that you just can't ever get them the way you want them, I'm going to do that. And I'm excited to do it. I think that's going to be a watershed moment, because I've been trying to clean these things a certain way since I've been playing with them, and I can never really get it there. But we got to get the city of Mount Dora to trim the trees so I can get the coach to my shop. That's what I got to do.
I understand, and I recently heard about one of your businesses a few years ago when I was getting involved with YouTube, dry ice cleaning. You've got a YouTube channel. I'll leave a link to one of your videos in the description below. Really cool method for cleaning stuff, but I think we should show the folks around this coach.
It'll be fun for them to check it out, and I got thick skin, so go ahead in the comments, just give it to me, I don't care.
I appreciate that, yes sir. So now these bay doors are not quite as high as the bay doors on some of the other H3s that we see. What's the reasoning for that?
Slide.
Okay.
Yeah, so when this slide comes out, it's kind of cool. When the slide comes all the way out, it's got a drop down panel, a valance that's kind of slick, kind of interesting, but yes, that's correct. It's because of this style of Featherlite slide. And we got full manuals and books and all the spare parts, and I've got a 6 foot long, it's not in the coach right now, a 6 foot long rolls of material that came with the coach, all the original upholstery. So we have spares rolled up that go with the coach.
Oh, very cool. So the first bay is a full pass-through bay. It looks like you've got some stuff stored in there right now.
Yeah.
And then this bay is another full pass-through bay with a ladder housed in there. I'm assuming the ladder comes with the coach.
It absolutely does. And this is a lockable. This is just the AC unit. 2 of the cruise air units are here. One's up front. And then the other one, I gotta remember where it is. I think it's on the other side.
It's got 4 cruise airs. We had all 4 of them running earlier today. It's starting to warm up quite a bit here in Florida.
We just replaced one of them. And I will say a little plug for the Tradewinds guys. They know those cruise airs. They're hard to get. They've got supply of parts. So I said, open checkbook, I want those ACs to work. I don't want to go through next summer and not have the ability, right?
And I believe some of the people over at Tradewinds used to work for Featherlite back in the day.
Correct, yeah.
This is going to be some of the cruise airs here, as well as some storage. And then it looks like the fuel cells behind that.
Correct.
200-gallon diesel fuel tank.
And here's my squeaky old friend.
So even this bay door's got a little squeak to it.
I bought a new one and it didn't change. Like I've tried everything to try to get rid of this. So now it's a part of the coach. So this is the Aquahot that we completely rebuilt less than 2 hours ago, 3 months. So let's see.
Wait, 2 hours ago?
There's only got 2 hours since we've only used it 2 hours.
Okay, 2 hours. Yeah, okay, yeah.
It's only been used 2 hours since we rebuilt it. And I replaced these drains so they work properly. So the electric you only open and close. And
yeah, a nice plumbing bay here with an outdoor shower, gray and black tank flushes. So this is going to have gray and black separate waste tanks. A lot of the converters do combined waste tanks.
Yeah, separate.
Okay.
I like that because you can dump black and then flush with gray.
Yes, sir.
And of course, cable master, and then you can open this up. There's also the water fill here. It's also on a reel. Power
50 amp cord reel. And I do see, I hate to knock it, as beautiful of a coach.
Yeah.
Is that?
Sticker.
Oh, it's just a sticker, okay.
But it's fair that you point that out, because on the other side and here, These are known to crack. And I'm told because of the heat from the light, sometimes they crack. I'm actually gonna call the stainless people. I think rather than repaint and put something new on there, I wanna put an adhesive stainless trim over the top of those.
Oh, that'd look really good.
Trim. And then it's solved forever. Right?
Yes, sir.
I don't have to worry about it. So that's one of my ideas, one of the things I haven't gotten around to yet. My exhaust tip is mangled and we were gonna beat on that. I've just decided I'm gonna cut about 1 inch of it off so it's nice and flush and clean and not wrinkled.
Okay, yeah. And I see on the Michelin tires here, on the tag axle, 2021 date codes.
I think they all were done at that same time, Andrew.
Okay, yep. 02 of 22 on the drive axle, and I'll check the steer axle real quick. 09 of 21 on the steer Michelin tires. Still a lot of life left in the Michelin tires. And then coming back here to the Detroit Diesel Series 60, this is one of the big selling points of this coach. And these were 20,000 pound towing capacity.
You know what? I don't want to state because I don't know for a fact. Maybe it says on there.
Yep, right here, 20,000 pounds on the Prevost weight.
The day we don't learn is a bad day.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So we have not repainted or reconditioned or refreshed, and this is factory original the way we have it. So as I said, mentioned to you, and you might hear later in the video, this radiator was replaced by Prevost, the charge air cooler. A lot of work was done. This is the story where the 2 clamps, it wasn't tight and it went into the fan and the fan went in the radiator. And so that was, I think, 2015 or 16 that all that got replaced. So all over a little clevis on the turbo.
We're gonna hear that story in a minute when we take it for a test drive, but I always like to point out the belt tensioner that the Prevost has. Huge advantage if you ever throw a belt. And then an auxiliary engine oil reservoir here. If you run a little low on engine oil, you've got that backup tank there. And this bay looks like a lot of business is happening here.
Yeah, this is one of the places that I'm really excited about going into dry ice clean because we don't use water and chemicals. So all this wiring, all this plastic, all that stuff will look brand new when we're done. That's a really cool feature. You know, we got our battery chargers and all the electronics here. That's pretty important stuff, and you want to try to keep it clean if you can.
If this coach doesn't sell and this is the candidate for that dry ice cleaning, I definitely want to see the YouTube video on that.
Yeah.
And out of curiosity, how long and how many man hours do you think it's going to take to really go deep on this coach with the dry ice cleaning?
It's mine, so I'm going to probably go way overboard. I don't really know how it's all going to play out, right? But a typical Porsche, Mercedes, BMW, that's, you know, a little grungy. It's a 20, 25-hour job. You know, we charge $300 an hour. When we actually did the work, I only do it for myself, and I train people now and sell the equipment. But, you know, it's not cheap, but there's no way to clean without friction except for dry ice. There's no abrasive action. Like when we pull, like this thing, we pull this cover off and that whole bank of batteries in there, spotless.
Yes, sir.
And no water.
The water and electronics do not get along together. So I look forward to learning more about that dry ice cleaning as well.
Yes, there's our water system.
Yeah, there's the big Headhunter Mach 5 marine grade water pump, and I really like the way that Featherlite finished this out. It's a very high-end texture here, and this is going to be the other side of the plumbing bay. And do you know how big the holding tanks are in this coach?
I don't. I've confused it with the other coaches we're selling, and I don't want to spit out a number that's not right.
But the Prevosts are always going to have the big boy holding tanks. You can, have you dry camped in this coach at all?
Yeah, a few times. Yeah. I'm not a big fan because I'm a shower nut. I'm a 2-shower-a-day guy, so I try to avoid the dry camping when possible.
Well, and with that Headhunter Mach 5 water pump, you're going to have a lot of water pressure, so it's going to burn up the water pretty quickly. A nice cooler, so this is going to be your entertainment bay?
Yeah, and my memory serves me correct. There's a way. I haven't done it much, but there we go. Yeah, so it's on a
little swivel, you can pull that out. Tilt it to keep the glare of the sun off of it. And then I see some outlets back there. And then I see some awning controls for the forward and aft awning as well. So it looks like this has the large, are those Girard or Girard awnings?
Yeah.
That's an expensive option just for those awnings.
The third owner had Tradewinds put the LED lights in, which I like.
Okay, can we open that up and pop those on? So these lights are a huge upgrade that we don't see on a lot of the coaches of this vintage, and being a double slide coach, This is incredible. The awnings aren't even all the way out yet, and you've got all of this under awning space here, you know, enough room to park a car, and then easy access to the bays as well without having slide rooms on this side. So really nice setup here.
It is, and I will tell you, LED lights, the upgrade that the last owner, I'm like, oh man, I really like that. And then he turned the ones on down below. There's LED that shines on the ground. It just, I don't know. It does bring the coach into the current era.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can see, you know, right here, kind of that underglow lighting where the bays open up. And then still daylight right now, but as the sun comes down, that'll really show. And it's got all the lighting around. I know you're not a fan of the lights on the interior, but it's got the
rope lights
around the windows as well.
I don't like the old yellow stuff.
Yes, sir, understandable.
Yeah. So here's probably our only significant project that we have left is the generator. We had to strip all of this insulation off because it was deteriorating. So we pulled it all out of there. This is a $5,000 job to pull this generator out, re-insulate the entire thing and put it back in. And obviously when you have it out, there's some things that you would service on the backside of the generator. So that's a negotiable part of the sale. Like that's something that, in my opinion, it needs to be done.
And that's just to keep the noise of the generator. That's the only purpose that serves. But everything's working okay with a 20 kW generator.
Yeah.
And how many hours do you have on this generator?
54.99.
Okay, and I like the way that Featherlite encloses that in this quiet box. And then I'm seeing two inverters, Xantrax inverters. Those look like the 4,000 watt inverters. I think we're gonna see in a moment, but you can even run a couple of the Cruise Airs off of the inverters while they're going down the road.
100%. You see here's the crack that we talked about? Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate the transparency, and it's hard to find a Prevost H3 of this vintage that doesn't have a couple of those cracks in the basement doors.
This one's clear.
Yeah, there's one.
The one.
Yeah, huge bay. I like to just sit down in here sometime to just show people how large these bays are. I've seen folks set up bunks down here in the bays and all kinds of, you know, put golf carts and motorcycles in here, all kinds of use for that space. Another, you know, full pass-through bay, and this is, you know, when you know you've made it in life, is when you're out camping and you sit down in one of your Ventari embroidered lawn chairs.
These are the two remotes for the awnings, and they're cradled right here. So you just keep them there until you need them, and then here's the upper and lower LED light switch. And if you hold that switch in, it'll intensify or decrease. So if you want it to be subtle at the campground or you want to be loud, you can choose.
I'd have it turned up all the way if it were up to me. Yes, sir. And I see some extra belts as well. Smart man. Yes, sir. And have you had to change a belt in this coach?
I haven't personally. I did that stuff when I was trucking. I don't do that stuff anymore.
Well, it's a lot easier with a belt tensioner from what I've heard. So, but always good to have those backup parts. And this is one of the cleaner front ends of a Prevost. I could tell you really keep the bugs off of it. I don't see any stone chipping. Does it have a
ding?
Oh, you did find something here.
Ding.
Small ding in the stainless,
and I would say we're probably 1 to 3 years from replacing the clear bra. It's about ready. We haven't done it yet. You can polish clear bra. It could stand to have a little polish put on it yet, but other than that, I got a chip right there.
Okay, small chip in the windshield. I appreciate your transparency. And that's one of the big advantages of the Prevost shells, having the split windshields. Not only is this part, the centerpiece part of the structure for the safety of the coach, but if you do need to replace one of these windshields, it's going to be significantly less expensive than the larger one-piece windshields. And then also, these are going to be the tallest windshields in the industry. So if you have passengers that are in the back of the coach, they're going to have that better view, being able to see through the taller part of the windshield.
You catch the bumper, make sure it doesn't touch the ground.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. There we go. So we try to care for it all the way through. So there's one of those Cruise Air units right there.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, to have 4 Cruise Airs in a coach, I don't know if I've seen a coach with this many Cruise Airs. Usually they only have 2 or 3.
I can tell you, when it's 95 to 100 in Florida, it's nice and cool in there.
Yes, sir. And all this is super clean here, a stainless piece right here. And a lot of people would just let that drop down, but I appreciate you wanting to keep that off the road there.
I'd also like to share, this is the Prevost data code
VIN plate?
VIN plate 08 of 04. So this is a 2004, August of 2004 chassis, 2006 Featherlite build. So sometimes that question doesn't come up until someone owns a coach for 5 or 6 months and they feel bad. Somebody says, oh, you really know that's not actually a 2006. So we just like, I like everything to be up front so there's no surprises. Nothing worse than selling something to someone and they're excited and some friend puts them down for something they missed.
Yeah, that's understandable, and that's normal in the motorhome industry. Even if it's on a Spartan or Freightliner chassis, it's typically going to be, what, 1 year, and then
1 to 3, yeah.
And then the more, you know, intense builds, I've even seen some of the Prevosts where they're, you know, 4 years behind. So 04 chassis, 06 Featherlite now is the title, is it technically titled in 06?
Yes.
And I know if someone did want to get financing on a coach of this vintage, then when they're getting towards that 20-year mark, it's going to be a little more lenient on financing being as an 06, or if it was titled as an 04, it'd probably be a little more difficult.
It really is. This particular coach is just such a sweet spot in so many ways. That point, the Series 60, the no def, the analog, the simplicity of slides, if there is such a thing, you know, there's just a lot about it that is, I just really like.
I think pre-EGR emissions as well. So not only no DEF, but that EGR is something that some of you old school truck drivers appreciate not having.
Yeah, we that came out in the 70s. My 76 Kenworth had an aneroid valve on the fuel pump, and we plugged those.
I appreciate the transparency, Scott. One small hole here in your canvas, but other than that, is all the canvas in pretty good shape?
It is, yeah, both sides. Yeah, that's just one. They overlooked this on the ticket last time. We would have put a little patch on that.
Yeah, and one of the other cool things about this coach is the roof is totally blank because you've got the Cruise Airs.
It had one of those big monster satellite dishes on there, you know. We took that off and had them put the plate on the top, so we don't have to worry about that too.
Yes, sir. Well, really nice exterior of this coach, but I think when folks see the interior, they're going to be really excited. Can we show the folks inside?
Absolutely, let's go.
And before we go inside, I want to point out, it does have the Airphone doorbell camera. Does that still work?
It does.
Nice, and then...
Nicely, I might add.
Okay, always nice to be able to see who's outside before you answer the door. And then I've got to compliment you on the entryway here, just how clean this is with that high gloss tile, and then the mirrors with the lighting. Now that lighting, was that done?
That was done at the same time they did this, yeah.
Yeah, much more modern feature than we would normally see in this coach.
I actually, when I bought it this last time, I felt like a retail person. I'm falling in love with stuff like, oh, I like what you did there. Oh, I like it. Everything that they did is like really cool. It's like, my wife is like, settle down.
Well, I'm sure if this doesn't sell, you'll be happy to keep using it.
Yeah.
But I think the folks are going to really like the interior of this, and then we're going to take it for a test drive in a moment, so definitely worth watching the whole video. So as soon as we walk into the interior of this Prevost, you can see the entryway has been very well cared for with the darker tile. And we're gonna see more of this, but you'll notice there's no grout right here. This is all aluminum here, which really helps the structure of the tiles hold together. And you'll notice all of the leather is in excellent condition with the two-tone inlays, and then the grab handles have this pattern to it, some sort of a reptile skin pattern. And then down here in the cockpit area, we've got a very large screen with a Pioneer radio, and all of the buttons are really easy to use. The ACs right now, I can just press this button. It's gonna turn on the front Cruise Air. See, you'll hear that kicking on. I mean, literally right away, no delay. And then I'm gonna kick it off right now for noise purposes. But we had all 4 Cruise Airs blowing ice cold inside of this coach. And of course, the best part about the H3 Prevost is gonna be the way this drives. It really feels like it's on rails, probably the most stable strongest driving coach on the road. And with that Detroit Diesel Series 60 pre-DEF, very sought after motor. We've got the simple CB radio here. And then these are some of the switches I was telling you about, you know, for the shades, lighting, air compressor, battery booster, generator preheat. We could start and stop the generator all from up here. And then we also have, you know, baggage door locks. We can control our shades, all simple analog controls. This does have the tag lift behind the air brake. You're gonna notice a level right here next to the driver's console as well. Simple mirror controls for the rear view mirrors, cup holder for the driver. And I like to point out how flush these Prevost shades are. A lot of the other motorhome manufacturers do not have as nice of shades. And as we go through this coach, you're gonna notice all of these shades are in excellent condition. This is an air ride seat, so super comfortable. You could put down a lot of hours driving. Another cup holder here, and then a little driver compartment for storage, as well as a little pull-out drawer right here for more storage. And another cup holder and console for storage here, and then the simple dash air conditioning controls. And then in the Prevost H3, we have a couple steps here into the coach area. The slide room control is going to be right behind the driver's seat for the salon slide. And as we step into the salon, this is one of the best spec coaches of this era. And one of the big things I like about this coach is the style of the cabinets. That's going to be the hardest thing to change if you ever want to update anything in the coach. And this is almost, like a gray with a slight pattern. Almost reminds me of a brushed aluminum, but definitely more of a laminate than a metallic. Just a very neutral, modern color on the cabinets. And then Scott did have the floors redone at Tradewinds in DeLand, Florida, a very reputable remodel company that's familiar with Prevost. And this was black carpet before, so they went with this white tile. And when you look in this area of the coach, just incredible the way they put this all together. I've got to tip my hat to the craftsman. You'll see this line right here, and then it's got that same aluminum structure instead of grout. So beautiful lines the way they lined all of that up. And then having that aluminum instead of the grout is going to make it much easier to clean. And then also that's going to really hold the structure of the tile together, so you're not having tiles crack or pop as the coach flexes. Now this floor plan is still going to be a popular floor plan in a lot of coaches that are built today. Up front we have an office work area set up with simple controls. Right now they have a computer monitor set up here, and then we've got some file cabinet or drawer space here. I see those original Featherlite owner's manuals, and very impressive build of the Featherlite cabinetry with that aircraft style hardware. And this sofa will jackknife out into sleeping. We just press this button here. And very quickly, you've got extra sleeping for your guests. Now, my one knock on this coach is it almost reminds me a little bit of like a zebra style pattern with the black and white upholstery. I think if someone wanted to reupholster, the bottom of the couch is okay, but I think the back and maybe these pillows could be updated a little bit, would really change the feel of this coach. And then you'll notice that same pattern on the valances, which I don't mind this black valance. I really like the different, materials that you see. This is like a white kind of embossed leather, or maybe probably a real leather. Again, a little more of a tannish, grayish color on this leather with a pattern in it. But for whatever reason, I'm personally not a fan of that particular material, but that's probably going to be the easiest thing to change if you did want to get that reupholstered. And I'm going to try out the length of this couch for sleeping, just to give you guys an idea of, depending on how tall your guests or children are that are going to be staying in the coach with you. But I'm 6'2", very comfortable, plenty of room here as it turns into a bed. And I like that there's no cabinets above the sofa here, so that's going to keep everything open. You'll notice the Bose speakers. I'm going to pop this couch back up. Super easy there. That took maybe 5 or 10 seconds. And then this recliner, I'm not sure if this is original, but it seems more updated with that black leather. Very high-end recliner. Again, you know, just extremely comfortable. And you can tilt that back as well. A nice spot to get some work done. And again, no cabinets overhead here, so it really gives you some nice headroom in the front part of the coach. We've got a cool mirrored style pattern on the ceiling. I have seen some people remodel that with more of like a linen color or different fabrics that could finish that off so it's not quite as reflective. And now here coming into the dining area, this has the J-style dinette with a table that's got a cool pattern that I don't think I've ever seen in a motorhome. Kind of industrial look with the metal ovals. And then this table will adjust in and out depending on how much room you need. That'll go in quite a ways if you want to keep it out of the way. And then we can also adjust the back of the seat here if you want to have more walkway in the coach. And then of course you could bring that out to have more seating. And here we do have some storage above the J dinette. A nice art cabinet here with some cool decor pieces in there. And then some storage. It looks like a couple wine bottle carriers there. Now this is kind of a unique style with this light being in front of these cabinets, so that part of the cabinet you can kind of tuck stuff back in, but there is not a cabinet door in front of that light, but still some good storage here. And then here's a dimmer for the dinette chandelier inside of this cabinet. And again, I think just maybe updating the fabric to something in a more neutral color on the back of this would just really bring this coach together well. And I could live with this fabric. It's not terrible, but I just think as nice of a coach as this is, a little bit of upholstery work would really take it to the next level. And I'm really impressed with the condition of all of the blinds in this coach. Sometimes coaches get stains on the blinds, but these seem to have really been well taken care of. And then in the galley, we have the darker countertops with a slight lip right here. So if you do have any spills, you're not having liquids drip down onto the face of your cabinets. And then we're gonna have some good storage here as well. They do have some, you know, coffee mugs and whatnot, and everything is lined with carpet. You'll notice that wood grain on the face of the shelving there. It looks like this shelving is adjustable. And then behind this kind of rolling door is gonna be the Avantium microwave. And again, all analog switches. Everything is super easy to work in this coach. We have a cooktop cover as well for the Kenyon cooktop that matches flush with the countertops. If we want to get more countertop space, this will extend with some storage below. And we've got a little flip down spot below the sink for dish sponges and whatnot, and then some good storage below the sink as well for cleaning supplies, all lined with carpet. And here we have, you know, some good drawer space, silverware drawer, and then some more storage with these pull-out drawers to make it easier to unload and load these drawers. And they're very deep drawers, so nice having that pull-out drawer. And here again, you can see very deep drawers right now. They do have some stuff in here. And then behind that is going to be this really nice wine bottle storage, as well as the Featherlite cocktail glasses and wine glasses with the Featherlite badge on it. And this coach is in excellent condition, but I am seeing one little spot of wear right here, just a very small little detail. Will be fully transparent with you guys. And there also was a new refrigerator added here. I believe he said about 6 months ago. And we've got some good storage next to the refrigerator, good pantry space. Now, when they did add this, you know, refrigerator, that's something, you know, these big appliances over time are going to need to be replaced. When you open this up on this side, you can see it doesn't open all the way. I mean, you can almost open it all the way. You could definitely easily access it, but, you know, Scott did point that out to me. I probably would have never even noticed it if he didn't point it out, but it's, you know, basically a degree or two from being opened all of the way. And I like that kind of matte black, kind of brushed black aluminum look on the face of this refrigerator. It gives it a much more modern look. And then here we're gonna have the pull out ice tray and freezer drawer. And then we do have pocket doors in this coach, and everything is working. Scott has really taken good care of this coach. A lot of the maintenance and service has been done at Tradewinds and DeLand. You can see a full-length mirror here on your galley pocket door, and we'll see that on the inside when we close it as well. Now this is going to have a large mid-bathroom, and I really like this shower here. We're going to close the pocket door to the stateroom back there here just by pressing one button, and then you'll see we've got another full-length mirror here. So if you want to section off this mid-bath from the stateroom and the salon, you're going to have lots of mirrors in here for getting ready. Now you can see this shower glass is in excellent condition, and just such a nice style and design the way they build this shower. And I was shocked when Scott told me that this tile floor on the shower is actually the original tile floor. It's got a really nice kind of grippy feeling on your feet while you're taking a shower. And I've got plenty of room in here. I'm 6'2", and right now we do have the privacy shade to the bedroom down, but there's a privacy shade you can open up, and of course I like seeing the squeegee. And even, this tile work in here is in excellent condition. This is one of the cleanest coaches I've seen of this vintage. Nice puck lighting inside of your shower, and plenty of height on your shower head as well. I just press one button here for the privacy shade, and that's going to go up there. But that is kind of an etched glass, so we're really, even with the shade opening, I think they put something on that glass so it's kind of permanently, you're not really seeing through that. Here across from the shower we have the water closet. You'll notice a piano hinge on the door, and I really like this style of laminate on the bathroom door here as well. Really nice color. Now they did have a vent added with the remote actually right here, so here you can vent out your bathroom here. And the way that this is built, they cover up that vent and fan with this nice leather with a nice pattern in it. It's still very bright in the water closet, even with the darker colored wallpaper. These will both tilt out so you can see both sides of your hair while you're getting ready. And then some good medicine cabinet space here. You've got a switch for a water pump, and then more storage below the sink. And there's a little cover here for the button for the stateroom pocket door, so you're not accidentally pressing those buttons and having doors open and close. But when we come back here into the rear of the coach, you'll notice the beautiful white tile floors, and the pattern lines up with the bathroom tile floors here, again with that aluminum instead of grout. And this is a really spacious rear suite. We're gonna have some good storage up front, good closet space here. Again, very nice textures here. Every square inch of these coaches gets finished out with the highest end materials. The new Featherlites are around $3 million. We had a chance to recently film Rusty Wallace's 2025 Featherlite coach. Plenty of storage here with adjustable shelving. You'll notice that rounded edge here, and these shelves are rounded off, and then that rounded door just gives it such a high-end feel. And then here we're gonna have a lot of our business controls, climate control, lighting controls. We can monitor the generator temperature, control, freshwater fill, shades, cruise airs, AV components. All the business stuff is gonna be in this part of the coach. And then we've got the LG TV with a sound bar and Bose speakers. And then these kind of laundry hamper style storage here with the bags. I think they've got some cleaning supplies in this one. And this material doesn't look as bad in the bedroom. There's more of it up in the galley, but I really like the look of these materials here. In the bedroom, you can notice that style of headboard with the black, I believe that's an Alcantara suede. And then again, the wall panels are all wrapped in leather, and see all that leather every square inch. And then we've got some storage overhead, lots of storage, good spot for maybe some blankets or extra pillows. And then there's a ceiling fan here in the bedroom. And again, that kind of mirror style on the ceiling. Now, this is a really cool floor plan with the rear of the coach. If someone wants to have, maybe that celebrity that wants to get ready, or this can almost be used as like a changing room area. Really is a part of the rear suite. So back here, we're gonna have a huge sink, lots of countertop space. There's not a second toilet back here, so this is a single bath coach with a second sink. And then we have a washer dryer back here. Again, tucked behind that door that has that nice curve to it, gives it such a nice flush look. Some good adjustable shelving, good spot for towels and linens, some good drawer space. And you'll notice that even though the drawer has a curve here, it's gonna kind of come out at an angle so everything works. This can be a large laundry hamper, it looks like, and then a very large long hanging closet for maybe dresses or race car suits. And then back here, some of the AV components are gonna be housed, your satellite TV. And then here again, we have more drawer space that come out at that cool angle so that everything has that nice flush curve to it. And then I like this backsplash. That's that same type of material we saw on the dining room table. And then a really large sink, lots of medicine cabinet space back here. Lots of storage as well here in the rear of the coach. Some very large medicine cabinet space with outlets. More storage here in the corner. So just lots of storage packed into the rear of this coach. There's gonna be more storage below the sink. Again, very deep storage with a pull-out drawer. See, deep storage below the sink and on this side as well. And you know, even these drawers are super clean. You can really tell this coach has been well cared for. One of the best parts about this coach is the way that it drives. So we're gonna take it for a test drive now, but first we've got to put the slide rooms in. I wanna show you how they operate. So with the Prevost buses, the first thing we need to do is turn the engine on so we can operate the slide rooms. All right, so Scott, you wanna show us how the slide rooms run in?
Yeah, this is more my analog. You know, I really like how this coach works. So basically we're gonna fire it up, and we got a little warning alarm. As soon as we start it, that warning alarm will go off. We just hit this little button, it goes off.
And what is that warning alarm for?
It's a shore alarm. It just, like, I naturally shut it off. It doesn't even work in my brain that it's an alarm to make sure the shore power cord is in. But that's what it's for. It's like, hey, before you go somewhere, make sure that you drive away with your power.
Yeah, that would not be good. Yes, sir.
So these are the Featherlite slide switches. It's pretty simple. You just hold this switch, it turns red, the pins are unlocking now. So you wait a little while for the pins to unlock, and then the slide will move in. And probably the biggest mistake people make when they're doing this is they don't hold it until the green light comes back on. That's when you know the pins are in place. Now, I've never had this issue with this coach in the 3 times I've owned it, but a friend of mine had these slides, and sometimes the pins, they're big pins, they wouldn't engage. He'd go down the road, and like 5 miles down the road, 150 psi air pressure, bam, those pins would snap in and scare the daylights out.
Sounds like a bullet. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
but it's never happened on this coach. So now we're stopped, and you'll hear it. And this will turn green. There we go. We're good to go. This is what I was talking about earlier. If you had a quad slide coach, you'd have some trouble here.
Yes, sir.
It'd be getting tight.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so plenty, very livable with the slide room, with the salon slide in.
So common sense prevails here. You don't want the door all the way open when you're bringing the slide in so that the bed crushes the door, right? So the switch is right here. So I'll kind of slip out of the way, and I'll turn this just like the one in the front, and the pins will move.
Oh.
And the bed sheet will move.
Up, I might be standing in the way of the slide room here a little bit. I'll sneak over here. And then now you're waiting for the green light again?
That's correct, sir. Now, again, this is a big deal to me. Slides in, I can still get to the back.
Yeah, you don't see that in too many. And is this a true king size bed?
I don't think so. I don't really. It's specially shaped for this coach, and this is a fitted piece. Probably as wide as a king. I don't know that it's exactly as long, and I think that was the pretense.
That makes sense, yes,
Yeah.
sir. All right, well, you think we could take this for a quick spin?
Awesome, let's do it.
Cool.
Patience is a virtue.
Oh, yeah.
So the story about this coach is pretty cool. We bought it in 2010 first, and it came from the motor coach store back when he was in 2 bays. It was my first introduction to Brad. It was our third Prevost, I think. We just fell in love with it. It was a fantastic coach, and I sold it to a friend at a Mecum auction, Mecum, Indiana, and he's a Ford dealer from Kentucky, and he had the coach for, gosh, I don't know, 5 years maybe. Dana Mecum called me one day back at Indy when they were selling cars at Indy. I wasn't there. He said, hey, Kevin's got your coach here. He ran it across the block. It didn't sell. Are you interested? I'm like, oh, yeah, I love that coach. I'm happy to buy that thing back. And so we negotiated a deal, and I bought it back for the second time, which was really kind of fun. So I got to appreciate and enjoy it some more. And that's where the story really gets crazy.
Yeah, nice having that power window there.
Oh, yeah. We had planned a trip, which is what we did primarily in our earlier years of buying and selling coaches, which we're more of a user now than we are a dealer. So we had an auction to go to in Pennsylvania, a Mecum auction, had sent 10 cars up there, a Peterbilt truck, a lowboy trailer that we tricked out, and we were taking this coach, not to run it at the auction, but just to enjoy it, our family, my son, my wife, and myself. So cars are all up there, we're all excited, you know, coach is all loaded up, and we got the dog, family dog, and going through Jacksonville like 9 o'clock at night, and there's a bypass on the interstate in Jacksonville to go around the downtown area. So I decided to take the bypass, and there's a big bridge, it's got a huge arc if you've ever been over it. I love this. Love the Allison recharger. It just works so well.
Yeah, a lot less aggressive than the engine brakes. Now, does this have an engine brake as well?
It does not. No, it does not.
Okay.
But it's just so good. If you really thoughtfully use this, like, you should never wear the brakes out.
Yeah.
It's all the way there. I'm driving along, and that bridge has got a bad segmented section. You know, the way that you go over the bridge in a long vehicle like this, you go kind of hump the dump, the dump, the dump. And I'm halfway up the side of the bridge, and I happen to glance in the mirror like I'm always conscientious, looking around traffic, and I see a puff of white smoke come out of the exhaust. I'm like, what? And I'm an old truck driver. You know, I still have my 76 Kenworth that my dad bought new. I'm like, that's not good. And I start losing power. And I'm losing so much power that by the time I crest that bridge, I'm 15 miles an hour. I barely got over the crest. We coasted down the other side, pulled into the gas station. I spent 2 or 3 hours, you know, messing around in the back trying to figure out what's wrong. I got no turbo boost. It's like there's nothing there. Like, geez, did I lose a turbo? It's late. So we limped literally through difficult or bad parts of Jacksonville in the coach over to the Detroit diesel place, and we just basically dry camped in front of the dealership or the store. And the next morning, you know, they pull the coach in, and we're on a time schedule. We got some issues there, and I don't have time for this. So we leave the coach, we unload all the necessities, rent a Suburban, drive up to Pennsylvania, do the auction. I'm interacting with Detroit. They can't figure out what's wrong. They send it over to Prevost in Jacksonville. They're looking at it. They can't figure out what's wrong. It's just frustrating. They changed the charge air cooler. They tried so many things. It was like I had a bill like $12,000, and they couldn't fix it. And it's just like, I don't know what to do. So we're on our way back now. It's a Sunday, and I have an idea. I think I might know what's wrong. I said, we're going to go to Prevost. They're probably locked up, you know, but let's just check. Well, happens that a concert was going on and a tour bus had an issue, so they had to a guy ran over there with a van, and he was doing some service work, so the gate was open and my coach was outside. I'm like, oh, perfect. We pull in there, ignored that guy, opened the back. I took my phone, put it in behind the turbo, snapped a picture. The frickin' pin fell out, the clevis that holds the wastegate actuator on the turbo. That's the only thing that was wrong with the coach. A pin fell out from going over those bumps, you know, missed its cotter key or whatever. And so I'm like, holy cow, I can't believe this. So I go get the guy that's in there getting parts for the tour bus thing. And he goes, what are you doing here? I'm like, well, it's my coach. You guys have been trying to fix it and it hasn't happened yet. I said, get me a 3/16 inch bolt. I said, what for? He said, what for? I said, just give me one. So he got me a 3/16 inch bolt. I put it in there, fired the coach up, done. Just a little thing, right? So I'm, pretty proud of myself. Like, heck with this. I'm taking the coach. We're going home with this thing. So my wife's, it's like midnight. We're going through Daytona on the Interstate I-95, and I'm literally a little too proud of myself. And she's on the phone with her mother, God rest her soul, and she says, yeah, Scott fixed the coach, nobody else can figure it out, blah, blah, blah. And the temperature gauge starts going up on the coach. And it starts blowing weird smoke out again. I'm like, this can't be. There's no way. So I pull into the Love's truck stop in Daytona area there, pull in the parking lot, I get out, I walk out to the back, and there's a stream of antifreeze running from the coach. I'm like, oh my goodness, open up the back. They didn't put 2 clamps on the charge air cooler. When the turbo boost kicked up, it blew off and slammed into the fan, and the fan shred the radiator.
Oh no.
So I cannot believe this happened. I had to have the coach towed at 2 in the morning, and we got it up to Jacksonville Prevost, and they worked on it and changed the radiator out, did all this work, and we kind of started over on the whole invoicing situation. Consider all the things that you put in my coach that it didn't need, and those dollars you're charging me, right? You come up with your final invoice with all that considered. She acknowledged finally that it should have had 2 clamps on it. And if I think that your invoice is too low, I'll pay you extra. If it's too high, we're going to talk about it. Well, they presented me with an invoice, and I actually paid them $1,000 extra.
Okay.
Because I did have new things in the coach. Like right now, I can tell you, this is not a 20-year-old radiator. It's not a 20-year-old charge air cooler in this coach. They're new. They didn't need to be replaced, but they were. But the kicker is, while they were doing this work, the third owner, who I didn't know from anything, called me. Hey, we're in Lakeland. Just looked at a motorhome. See yours advertised. We want to come look at it. You're in Mount Dora, right? I'm like, no, yes, I'm in Mount Dora, but the coach is not here. Well, it's not exactly what you want to do when you're selling something. Hey, it's getting repaired. You don't want to send them up to where it's getting repaired. Why was it? So I told them the exact same story that you all just heard. And they said, well, we're from Jacksonville. That's great. We'll just drive home and we'll look at it tomorrow. So they actually went over to Prevost. Cindy was kind enough to show them the coach. And they bought the coach and became friends. And so they, because I bought it twice already, a little jokishly, I said, now listen, when you get ready to sell this one day, you make sure and call me. I like this coach. I want it back. Okay. Well, sure as rain, they called me about 1.5 years ago and said, hey, we're thinking we're going to sell the coach. And I'm like, let's go check it out. So Deborah and I drove up, and they had continued to have it maintained at Tradewinds in DeLand, and so we structured a deal and bought it back. And I didn't buy it back this time to make money. I bought it back because I like it, and it's a cool coach. I'll sell it for fair value to someone that appreciates what it is, like we appreciate it. If not, I get to keep enjoying it.
Yeah, this is super smooth going down the road here. And is it okay we walk to the back of the coach here to show everybody the noise, what it sounds like in the back of the coach?
Absolutely.
Now, I did hear a little rattle at idle only when the coach was idling, but it stopped when we're accelerating and when we're moving. What would the reason for that be?
Here or in the back?
In the back.
Yeah, it's the upper cabinet, the piece, the panel that has the 2 lights that shine down. Because I heard that for the first time too.
Only when it's
so I just
idle,
went back
though.
there. Go check it out.
Okay.
I just went back there and tried it, and that's what quieted it down.
Yeah, well, I'm not hearing anything, but this is, we do have all the blinds down right now. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna kick these, shades up here. Oh. Just so we can show off these big windows. Oh. Oh. Oh, we're kind of braking, driving through traffic here, but you know, just to hear the noise here as we come to the back of the coach. I mean, we saw how livable it is with the slide rooms in, but this is actually going down the road, so I mean, super smooth. It's hard to, you know, think we're in a motorhome right now. Everything is, I'm hearing a couple minor, you know, we hear that Detroit Diesel Series 60 a little bit and a couple minor things, but, you know, overall, we're going around a turn here if you want to brace yourself, Eli. There's that Series 60 accelerating, so it does make a little bit of noise. It's good white noise if you're catching some Z's back here while your spouse is driving the coach. I know a lot of people like to nap in these Prevosts while they're going down the road. Yeah, every time I walk through one of these Prevosts while we're going down the road, it's incredible at how smooth they are. And Scott, one other thing I noticed, when you hit the turn signal as well, the camera would go with the turn signal. Now, right now, is it just looking at the rear? Is it a rear view camera?
So we can do rear view, we can do hitch view.
Okay.
Yeah, you can adjust it. There's the rear view.
And then when you kick one of your turn signals on, it'll go to that side. Very large monitor. Was that the original monitor that came with the bus? Or?
It's original to when I bought it in 2010, yeah. So
Okay.
I think so, yeah.
Well, and it was only a few years old, you know, really being in an 06, there was not a lot of coaches changing hands in that, you know, 08, 09 era. So were you the second owner then, or do you know?
Well, so, I mean, technically, this is how I understand it. The first owner sold it wholesale or traded it, I don't know which, and Brad might know this, and Brad sold it to me as a dealer. I used it 4 or 5 months. Technically, it won't show that I put it in, it was in our dealership name, so the title is not going to reflect a retail ownership. The technical reality, from my understanding, is owner one, motor coach store, ScottAles dealership, Ford dealer, my friend, back to ScottAles, Jacksonville owners, back to ScottAles. So 7 transfers, if you will, but retail in our world of buying and selling dealer things, it would be categorized as 3 owners. The first owner, the Ford dealer, and the Jacksonville dealer. So those are Jacksonville people. So you know, technically 7 transfers, but 3 retail user owners.
Okay, and how many miles are currently on the coach?
Oh, that's a good question.
97,688, am I seeing that right?
Yeah, you are right, yeah.
There's a step cover there as well.
This is something, if anybody in the comments, I would love to know, this auxiliary AC unit comes on every 4 to 5 minutes. Just on its own, since I've had the coach all 3 times. So, and it's a little loud, right? If you really blast it, it's crazy. It's nice when you need it or want it, but it will come on like every 5 minutes. There's got to be some little thing somewhere that maybe one of you Prevost owners know about.
Can you run the cruise airs while you're going down the road?
So I can run off the batteries 2 units. If I fire the generator up, I can run all 4.
Wow. Yeah, and those had this coach ice cold air. It's starting to warm up in Florida as well. I wore jeans today. It was probably more of a shorts day. I didn't know if it was going to be. There's that auxiliary AC kicking on.
And here's, you can see this, the sun's on this really good, so you can see this worn part that I mentioned earlier, right?
Yep, just a small little
character.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What is it people try to say? Patina.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Scott, you usually deal in cars. You're a car dealer, or what's your current situation?
Well, current is one thing, and history is another. Really, and I don't mean this in a crazy way, but if it's got a motor and moves, crawls on tracks, floats, flies, rolls, I'm just fascinated by all things powered, and so that's put us in a world for the last 45 years where we've bought and sold all of those things. I primarily have focused on exotic luxury collectible cars, and I will take anything on trade. Like, as long as I can get what I allow on trade or a little more, I'm happy to take something on trade. What I'm not going to do is play the over allowance game. I just keep it simple. This is what something's worth to me, how we traded for that 21 Dynamax on the other coach. My career is, I'm kind of known in the industry as the guy that'll put a number on anything.
Yes, sir.
And that's made it fun. And of course, it's made it a little interesting with my 44-year relationship with my wife. In the morning after, did you buy a, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, we used to buy from the U.S. government through Caterpillar Tractor's Federal Defense Products Division 200-300 pieces of trucks and equipment at once.
I saw on your YouTube channel you had a video with over 1 million views on a skid steer about 17 years ago. And on your YouTube channel, we'll link that in the description below. You just sold a Gullwing recently. You've played with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Is there what's your most interesting machine or vehicle that you've ever had come through your hands?
I think one of the 2 cars. A lot of neat stuff. I mean, the truck is very special to me. The 76 Kenworth truck that my dad bought new, taught me to drive when I was 14. I knew where it was. I had to wait for the second and third owners to pass away to buy that truck back. So I now own that again. I bought it 2 years ago on my 60th birthday. That's super special to me. But the 2 wildest vehicles, one has to be the Aston Martin Vulcan. They made 24 of those. That's a track-only V12 wild car that I actually helped a friend sell. So I didn't own it. I did broker a McLaren F1 in 1998.
Wow.
I made $5,000 and we sold it for $1 million. It's worth 30, 40 million.
Oh, wow.
But I did not have the horsepower financially to hold that car. I don't feel bad about that.
Well, and who would have ever known, you would think something like that would be depreciating.
Yeah.
It's hard to see the future. It's been pretty wild the way some of these vehicles have appreciated and held their value. And even, these Prevost coaches, compared to motorhomes, production motorhomes, they hold up so well over time that it gets to a point, it's kind of like an airplane where they hold their value, and then, the maintenance and, if, you could overhaul one of these and keep it running forever, really.
I think, when you store and care for one and you keep it plugged in and you don't let it overheat inside, and when you really care for, like the owners of this coach have cared for this, it sets it apart. And that's why I'm drawn, like I really want to own this 2 or 3 more times. I do. I mean, I'm doing my best to try to take care of our health, and so I want to be that 90-year-old guy driving this 2006 Prevost from the 6th or 7th person. It really is. I focus so much now on my clients, making sure that the experience that they are going to have is what they want. Sometimes we've been able to help people see getting a bargain or a deal doesn't serve the actual mission or the experience. And so, and they still have, some have still gone through and done it, but I think that's what drives me. That's the passion I have in the few pieces where I used to do 50 pieces a month. I do 10, 15 pieces a year now. And I like meeting new people, interacting with people, helping them have a great experience.
You're going for the stuff that you really like, not necessarily just the deals. And we were talking a little earlier off camera. I grew up in the car business, and I always personally would rather pay more for a really well-spec'd with the right color combination, something that's been well maintained, low miles. I'd rather pay more for that unit than get the crazy good deal on something that may have ugly colors or something that I'm not going to enjoy as much. So that's kind of always been my philosophy.
I think that's accurate. It really is. And it's like there's a lot of euphemisms and comments that go along with that, but it's like buy once, cry once.
Yes, sir. Well, they say buy your last coach first as well, I think is the other saying.
Right.
Well, thanks for the test drive here, Scott. Really appreciate it.
It's like an old glove for me. It really is. Like, people that are not familiar with these coaches, like, oh my gosh, doesn't it scare you to drive one of those? I'm like, well, I started in a semi with a lowboy trailer, so it's a little unfair. But I had a Riva wood boat that I sold close to $1 million some years ago. And somebody said, oh my gosh, how do you possibly drive down the road with that $1 million boat behind you? Aren't you scared to death? And I finally came up with a perfect response for that. Do you have family members that ride with you in the car?
Much more valuable. Yes, sir.
All of a sudden perspective comes about, right? He's like, oh, okay, yeah, I never thought about that.
Well, you know, and on that note, the Prevost shell is, to my knowledge, the safest motorhome on the market. You know, this structure, most of these buses are built to be seated passenger buses, you know, hauling passengers. So, you know, really a testament to the Prevost safety, really a priceless value as well.
I agree. I agree. If I ever were unfortunate enough to have to be on the side of a coach in the ditch, I want to be in this one.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Scott, you have a beautiful coach here. I can tell you've really taken good care of this coach. Now, if someone wants to purchase this coach, how much money do you need for it?
So we're offering the coach for $499, and it's a little bit heavy on the price structure because I see them for sale for $3 to $5. It's kind of special to us, so we're happy to take trades. We're happy to consider. We got financing options. Anything you want to know about the coach, I know the good, the bad, the ugly. And that's what we really like to present to people. So is there flexibility in the price? Of course. We're looking for a relationship, and we're looking to create an experience for someone else in the coach. So price is relative. Maybe you don't call because you think the price is high. That would be a mistake. Because if I really like you and we bond well, neat things can happen.
Okay, I respect that. And what would be different of this coach than other coaches on the market of a similar vintage?
Well, I think for us, because it's my third ownership season with this coach, we've spent so much time in it, refining, and each owner, and you alluded to me taking care of it, everyone's taking care of this coach. And that's what's unique about it. It's pre-def, it's Series 60 Detroit, it's analog-ish more than the newer coaches. And if that's not your thing, you shouldn't pursue this coach. But if you like that sort of thing, which appeals to me, I'm an old school kind of guy, I just really like the coach in that regard. And I think that's what, you know, it's timeless. We pull up to a park and consistently, oh my gosh, beautiful new coach you have. It's like, this is 20 years old with 95,000 miles on it. And they're shocked. And you know, if you're a Prevost person, you know, because the wheel arches they have the edges instead of a nice curve. You know, if you know your Prevost, everybody knows it's an older coach. But the non-Prevost people, they swear it can't believe that it's 20 years old.
Well, with this paint job, it was way ahead of its time.
Give or take some of the fabrics and things they chose, but I'm a super fan of all the metal in the, you know, the back bathroom. It's not a half bath, no toilet, you know. But that's just like my zen place. For all the Prevosts I've ever seen, had, or been around, that back sink area, I think is the coolest place to get ready in the morning.
A really cool spec'd coach overall, the floor plan, definitely nothing like it on the market. It's definitely a one-off coach. Now, if someone's serious and qualified, who should they get a hold of to purchase this coach?
It's just like really old school, right? ScottAles. Like, you can Google my name, and I have to throw this fun thing in. If you take my first initial, which is S for Scott, and you put it in front of my last name, you get sales. So you should probably never forget my name if you think about it in that regard. But yeah, ScottAles, and it's just my phone number and email address, scottales@gmail.com, and 407-257-5854, which is a number I've had since 1993.
Okay, so you've been around for a long time, and I've got to ask you too, we recently did a video with you. You got a hold of a couple of those Forest Rivers that went through auction. Those were some cool coaches, you know, 2025 45-foot coaches, still priced below this. You've got the last one of the four is available for $399. How do you compare that coach to this coach?
That's really cool that you mentioned that, because the last person we sold the third coach to, we talked about, you know, they're fairly similarly priced, right? And it's just, they're two worlds apart. When you want to float on the cloud, you know, solid bus chassis, There's a premium for that. This coach was $1.6 million in 2006.
Wow.
Spec today, it's 2.5 to 3. It's been 400 to 500 grand for 14 years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how much depreciation would someone expect if they buy this coach at any negotiated price, right? That's something that you have to be aware of. But I say budget $20,000 to $30,000 a year to maintain a 20-year-old coach, or make occasional upgrades like the various owners have done upgrades on this coach, myself included. So, think about your experience, what the experience you want, what it is, and, versus a Class A diesel pusher, it's just another level. I actually showed a friend of mine that was ready to pull the trigger on one of the Charlestons. I walked him through here. He goes, "I'm done. I can't do it."
Yeah,
and it's just what happens,
Definitely a completely different level of quality, almost like going from like a Volkswagen to a Rolls Royce, or if that's even a fair comparison. And I think really it depends on how the folks are going to be using the coach. If someone's just going to go, park a coach at Florida at a campground for the winter, not really drive it a lot, that Forest River would definitely fit your needs. Very new, modern, some of the more technology in it. But if you're putting 20,000 plus miles a year on it, this is the way to go.
Yeah, and I also say, I have a kind of a patent 2-stage presentation to Prevost potential buyers. I try to, no matter what I'm selling, like I'm selling an H, right? I've talked more people out of than talked them into coaches because of these simple things. If you like a flat floor and you like to ride with the passengers on the same level, and you want a lower profile coach because you get off on the main roads quite a bit, you should look at an XL. If you want more storage space and you're basically on thoroughfare, interstates and turnpikes, and then an H is probably something I like, sitting below the rest of the passengers. It's my own little area, And then the other part of it too is slides, no slides, 4 slides, 2 slides, 3 slides, no slides. If you're gonna run constantly, stay 1 or 2 nights, go 5 days on the road, stay 1 or 2 nights, you should not even buy a slide. Like, you don't even need one.
I agree.
If you're gonna do that in a 4-slide coach, 80% of your time, you're gonna have 18 inches of walkway through the coach. That's not a good use of the platform. So this we like a lot, because this is, we're reasonably sized guys. We got room here. 2 slides is plenty. Right? You bring these slides in, it's still very comfortable to travel down the road. So I like to first make sure people understand what they're looking at. Do you want an XL? Do you want an H? Do you want slides or no slides? And then once that baseline is established, now let's start talking about if this is the right coach for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the double slide is kind of a sweet spot.
It is.
It's, less stuff that can break, and it's really nice to have that extra room. The non-slides, I think the non-slides are still pretty livable, but definitely nice having that extra room, but still being very usable while going down the road.
Yeah. And like, if you're a road goer, you want bus air, you want no slides, and if you're in and out of weird angles and you're in an XL, you probably want rivet coach. You don't want a rivetless coach. So there's all kinds of baseline decisions I think people should make before even if they like a particular coach, it might not be the right fit for them.
Yes, sir, I understand. Well, I'm going to make sure to leave your information in the description below as well. And we really appreciate you sharing this coach with us. A great opportunity for somebody out there.
We like the story behind it, and we look forward to the story that is yet to come.
Absolutely. Well, thanks again for your time, Scott. Really appreciate it, sir.
Yes, indeed. Thanks, Andrew. Appreciate you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Also appreciate all of you out there subscribing to the channel and liking these videos. We hope you're all having a great day. Thanks again.